ever waited for something with all your heart? An email, a message, a dream, a diagnosis, a job, a phone call, a person, or a child? And when it didn't come quickly, didn't you start to wonder, is it ever going to happen? Yes, I have asked this question several times in my life. Good morning. I'm Anisha Betty George. Today, I would like to reflect on how, even in its pain, the wait can become the very place where the miracle begins to unfold. And I know this because I was blessed to experience such a miracle in my own life. Let's be honest, we are not good at waiting. We tap the elevator button twice, even though it is lit. We get frustrated at red lights and loading screens. We live in a world of instant everything. Fast food, fast internet, fast answers. But God doesn't rush. His timing isn't about speed. It is about shaping, preparing, aligning things for our good. He doesn't work on our schedule. He works on His perfect one. As Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 11 reminds us, He has made beautiful everything in its time. Yes, in its time. The time when it is ready, when we are ready, and when His plan aligns for something more beautiful than we could have ever imagined. God sometimes allows us to wander, to wrestle, to wait, not to frustrate us, but to form us. Waiting is often filled with silence, not just around us, but within us, deep inside. It is in this silence that we feel uncertainty, doubt, and sometimes even fear. Now, the silence of waiting can feel like abandonment. However, it is within this silence that life-changing miracles often take root. It is a space where we learn patience, grow in faith, and hear the subtle whisper of God's presence where He says, "Be still and know that I am God." Waiting can feel like lonely. It can feel like nothing is happening. But the truth is, we are not the first to wait. Throughout history, across the Bible, and even in literature, we find people just like us. People who waited, struggled, and who saw beauty and miracles unfold in the end. Let's walk through some of these stories together and see what waiting can become in God's hands. One of the most well-known stories of waiting in the Bible is that of Sarah, the wife of Abraham. Sarah waited decades for a child. Her hope withered, her faith wavered, she laughed, she doubted. Yet, God kept His promise. And when God's promise finally arrived, she laughed again, but this time with joy. Her heart overflowed with joy, and she said, as recorded in Genesis chapter 21 verse 6, "God has brought me laughter, and everyone who hears about this will laugh with me." Sarah's story reminds us that no season of waiting is wasted in God's hands, because even the longest wait can end in joy when we place our trust in God's hands. While Sarah's story teaches us that waiting can end in joy, Joseph's story in the Old Testament shows us that waiting can be long, painful, and confusing, yet still full of purpose. Joseph was just a teenager when his own brothers, out of jealousy, threw him into a pit. They sold him into slavery, tearing him away from his home, his father, his dreams. Far from everything familiar, he was taken to Egypt, a foreign land with a foreign language, and no one to take care of him. And just when things started looking up, he was falsely accused and thrown into prison. Anyone in Joseph's place would have asked, "Where is God within all this? Has He abandoned me?" But the truth is, God was with him all along. God wasn't punishing Joseph. Instead, God was preparing him for a role that would not only save Egypt, but also restore his own family. In the hidden places, in the prison cell, in the lonely nights, in the confusion, God was actually shaping Joseph's character, teaching him how to lead, to forget, to forgive, and to wait. And when the time was right, God lifted him up. From prisoner to ruler, from captive to deliverer. And Joseph was able to look back and say to his brothers in Genesis chapter 50 verse 20 that you meant evil against me, but God meant it for good. What they tried to destroy, God used to redeem a nation. What looked like a delay was actually a divine design. Now, in the world of literature too, we could see love that waited lifetime. In Gabriel Garcia Marquez's novel, A Love in the Time of Cholera, Florentino loved Fermina when they were young. But life didn't go in the way they hoped. Fermina married someone else and Florentino was left heartbroken. But instead of letting go, he carried that love within him quietly and faithfully. And now he waited, not for a week, not for a year, but 51 years, 9 months, and 4 days. Now, he didn't wait perfectly. He was human. He stumbled, he failed, he lived a full, complicated life. However, something in his heart stayed steady. He never stopped hoping. His waiting wasn't desperate or dramatic. He didn't chase after her or didn't try to disrupt her life. His waiting was steady, patient, and quietly hopeful. And more than 50 years later, that moment came. They met again, older, changed, shaped by life, but something deep and quiet between them remained. It wasn't the same kind of love that they had known in their youth. It was a kind of something deeper love, seasoned by time, softened by pain, and strengthened by patience. So don't fear the waiting. Trust the unfolding, because sometimes the most beautiful things in our life doesn't arrive in fireworks. It arrives in faithful patience. And when it does, it is worth the wait. There is another story about waiting in personal growth in a novel called Siddhartha by Hermann Hesse. The main character in the novel, Siddhartha, spends his entire life searching for truth. He tries everything: the path of wealth and pleasure, the life of a monk and self-denial, the guidance of teachers and wise men. But nothing gives him the lasting peace that he longs for. Years pass, he grows older, he starts to lose hope. Then, in the quiet life of a simple ferryman, Vasudeva, by the river, Siddhartha finally begins to understand. The river teaches him that life flows, that everything returns, and that wisdom cannot be rushed. He realizes that it comes not through lectures, but through patience, experience, and deep listening. He waited, not passively, but through living, trying, falling, listening. And in the end, what he longed for came, not as a thunderclap, but as a quiet knowing. Just like Siddhartha finds peace not in chasing after answers, but resting in the flow of life, we too are invited in the Bible to be still and know that I'm God. As we know, in the Bible too, there is a profound period of silence. Even heaven was silent between the Old Testament and the New Testament. Between Old Testament and the New Testament, there was a great silence. Not a day, not a week, but approximately 150 to 160 years of great silence. No new prophets, no grand revelations, just silence. People must have wondered, Has God stopped listening? Have we been forgotten? But silence is not absence, and waiting is not wasting. Because even when the heavens were still, God's hands were not. Behind the scenes, He was preparing the world, lining up nations, languages, roads, and hearts. And when the moment was just right, when the fullness of time had come, God sent forth His Son, as it is said in Galatians chapter 4, verse 4. Not early, not late, exactly on time. The silence broke with the cry of a newborn baby in Bethlehem. And heaven's promise, which was quiet for centuries, was finally heard again. God may be silent, but He is never still. Now, patience is not passive. It is not being lazy. It is not being hopeless. Patience is not sitting around doing nothing. When we hear the word wait, we often picture doing nothing, just sitting around, checking the clock, scrolling the phone, growing restless. But Jesus teaches us that waiting is much more than that. The word wait in Isaiah chapter 4, verse 31 invites us to look forward with trust, to expect something good even when you can't see it yet. That kind of waiting will make us stronger, not weaker. In fact, waiting can be one of the most powerful seasons of our lives if we know how to wait. So, if you find yourself in a season of waiting right now, here are some things that you can do or that we can do that will make waiting truly worth it. First of all, stay rooted in prayer. Waiting is the perfect time to come closer to God. Open your heart to Him, ask for patience and wisdom, and then listen quietly because God often speaks in the stillness. Secondly, prepare yourself. Waiting is a kind of preparation, not just for the things that we want, but the person we need to become. Build our skills, strengthen our character, get ready to receive the blessings when it comes. Also, turn our focus inward. Instead of dwelling on our own waiting, on our own problems, reach out to others with kindness and compassion. When we serve and encourage those around us, it not only fills their needs, but also brings hope and joy into our lives. Helping others reminds us that our waiting or our problem is just a part of a bigger story. Moreover, embrace gratitude. Even in the wait, it is easy to feel discouraged when waiting prolongs, I agree. But choosing to notice and give thanks for the small blessings, the quiet moments that we are having, the kindness of others, the family that we got, the strength you find within, all this can transform our heart. Gratitude turns the waiting from a burden into a hopeful journey, reminding us that even in the silence, we are never alone. And finally, stay active and healthy. Take care of your body and mind. Exercise well, rest, keep your spirit up, strong, so that we are ready when that time comes. Because waiting isn't wasted time. It is the holy ground where God renews our strength. It is a season when we are becoming stronger, wiser, and more ready to soar, just like Isaiah promises in chapter 40, verse 31. Those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. This verse doesn't promise any fast answers. It says instead that something happens inside you. Because honestly, sometimes we are not ready for the thing we are praying for. Sometimes we need time, not just for the situation to change, but for us to change. A perfect example of this is found also in nature, in the way the Chinese bamboo tree grows. The Chinese bamboo tree is planted and watered daily, but nothing happens for 5 years. Then suddenly in the 5th year, something incredible happens. It grows 27 meters in height just in 6 weeks. Did it grow in 6 weeks? No. It grew in 5 years, underground, invisibly, building the root system strong enough to sustain its height. God often works like that. We don't see it. We think nothing is happening. But underground, in your heart, in your circumstances, He is preparing you for something great. Waiting shapes our heart so that when the blessing comes, we don't just receive it, we hold it well. Waiting will soften our pride, will deepen our trust in God. So don't rush. Do not despair. As Galatians chapter 6 verse 9 says, let's not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. Maybe you're waiting right now for healing, for someone to talk to you, for someone to come home, for your next step. So take heart, even when the silence feels heavy and the wait feels endless. Remember this, as it is said in Isaiah chapter 64 verse 4. No eye has seen, no ear has heard what God had prepared for those who wait for Him. So just trust in God. God is not distant. He is not ignoring you. He is working quietly, lovingly preparing something beautiful, something you may not yet perceive, but will one day realize. And when that day comes, whether it arrives like a sudden sunrise or unfolds gently over time, we will look back on every prayer, every tear, every unanswered moments, and we will say, it was hard, but it was worth the wait. Thank you.